My name is Linda Stoller, and the children call me a speech and language teacher. I've actually been a speech-language pathologist, educator, communication consultant, poet, songwriter, and producer for the last 45 years. As a child, I was so painfully shy. I could not speak. I could talk to people, but I wasn't able to stand up in class. I remember in second grade, sitting in those wooden chairs and desks, wanting to just melt into the wood so that the teacher wouldn't see me or be able to call on me because I could not talk. I knew the answers, but I couldn't say anything. And this continued all the way through elementary school and high school and college. Finally, in graduate school, when I had already decided to be a speech pathologist, I had to take public speaking courses, and I would throw up the night before. I was so terrified. I believe I became a speech-language pathologist so that I could learn to talk. I could learn to communicate. Well, I worked as an SLP, as they called us, for probably 15 years, trying to do what I learned in graduate school. It was very left brain, logical, cognitive, and I felt like I was putting Band-Aids on the kids. I'd take them out into a little room and try to do some little games, little practice sessions, and nothing ever carried over. I was so frustrated, I was really pulling my hair out. So after 15 years, I was going through a divorce, and I had a little bit of money, and I decided to take some time off. I went to live by a river in the woods. I got in touch with the creative part of myself. I loved music and dance. I wrote poetry. I took a sign language class. And I felt as if I had come to find a more deep and authentic piece of who I was. And that included my spirituality as well. Well, finally, when I had to go back to work, my money had run out, and I had to be a speech pathologist again. I knew I had to take that piece of my soul with me. And so I began writing songs for the children for sound and language acquisition. We did the homonym hop and the synonym twist, the adverbial waltz, and all kinds of wonderful songs for sounds. And along with another speech pathologist in our tube boombox, we went up to the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, which was probably the only place that would hire me at the time to sing and dance as a speech pathologist. And we got kids out of their desks, brought them into circles, which is a very, very important part of my work. And we started teaching them these songs for sound and language. And the results were absolutely amazing. The kids were so excited. They were so happy. They'd see us coming with our boom boxes and they'd go, "Come on, teacher, come into this class now." And it was just so much fun. But not only that, what we saw were incredible changes cognitively, socially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. These kids were on. They were so excited. They were finding a part of themselves, their own creativity, their own gifts. They began to be able to be more focused, to pay attention. Their processing skills got better. Their communication skills just rose. They were better listeners. And I knew I was onto something. So I started at that time, it was in the 80s, and I started reading whatever I could find about the brain. And I realized that what I was doing with these children with this multimodality method, music, movement, and at that time manual motion, which was sign language, was changing their brains, and they were changing from the inside out. They were becoming authentically who they were supposed to be. And this was just so exciting. And the brain work all fell into place with it. Well, fast forward to 3 years ago, my mother was with me. At that point, she was 91 with dementia. And I started taking her to these circles that I was doing with the children. And lo and behold, her communication skills changed. She started remembering all the songs. She started doing some signs. She came out of herself. She was now much easier to talk to. And I realized that this multimodality method, and I started adding some meditation, some visualization, was not just for children, it was for an aging population as well. So for a little while, I did multi-age classes with the multimodality approach. And there, we had babies, we had grandmas, we had mothers, all singing, dancing, and signing and using this approach. And that was the beginning of the multimodality method.